first calf.
My first 4-H calf was called Stubby. He was a half Brahma. He was a beautiful calf. But I was 8 years old when the stock show started. I was 9 years old when I sold him because I had my birthday. That's right at the end of March. And first thing I did was go downtown at 9 years old and bought me a 22. And bought the shells, and nobody said a word.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
And you could go into the stores out in the country and buy a 22 shell for a penny, you know, or you could buy the box or whatever, but they would sell them one bullet at a time if you didn't have much money. But Rene Guerra stole it. He stole Bruce's pump shotgun. He stole your over and under 410-22. He stole Grandpa's bugle, Boy Scout bugle that Grandma gave me. He stole your socks. You caught him on the bus one day with your socks on. But he would just walk into our house.
Oh yeah, we never locked it, so it was wide open. Well, there's usually somebody there.
Yeah. Well, Mama was there, but she wouldn't know if somebody walked in the back.
Yeah.
Our boy's room had 2 bullet holes in it. One from him and one from me. I had Bruce's old pump, and I walked in and I put it down. I was standing up and I put it down, and the butt hit the ground a little too hard, and it shot a bullet right up by my head and into the ceiling. That same gun was the one you shot, and the bullet tumbled, and when it went through the back door, it went through sideways.
Yeah.
That was a dangerous gun.
I don't know, there's something about living in danger that protects you a little bit. Accidents happen. You fall off of tractors and out of trucks and all this kind of stuff, and bulls running over you and so on, but they don't tend to kill us. But I was out hunting with Howard Simmons, and he shot himself.
Well, I was with him. You don't remember that part.
I don't.
But Rising was clearing off some land. And so that was good rabbit hunting. Mm-hmm. So you and me and Howard skipped school. And we got hungry, and there was an orchard. There was an open field and then an orchard.
Atwood's Orchard.
So Howard and I went over there to steal some oranges because we were hungry and thirsty. And it was winter, and he had a jacket on, and he was carrying the gun under his arm. And we were walking along, and he just stopped. And he said, "Scott, I think I shot myself." And he had. And neither one of us heard a sound.
Yeah.
Because that barrel was right under his arm. The bullet went in, out, and into his shoulder.
Every time I'd go to the Simmons house after that, they'd look at me with suspicion because they were just sure I shot him and that Howard covered for me.
We went to the Simmons house one time, and Howard was told to cut some firewood. So he picked up the axe, and I was standing in front of the axe. And his mother got all over him. "What if the axe comes off of that handle, boy?" So anyway, on the way home, you and I made a bet that I couldn't shoot that sunflower off. And it was from here to the TV. And I won the bet. I had a 22, and I shot that sucker off.
It, what, a $500 bet or something?
No, you can't, I can. That was the bet.
Good. Yeah.
John had that little pistol that he had ordered through the mail, and it was a revolver about that long. It was a 22, and the cylinder didn't align quite with the barrel.
It's spitting
So
lead.
when you shot it, there were sparks and lead flying out the sides. He ordered it through the mail. He was about 9 or 10.
Oh boy. Tell me your version of the story about John and Pete wrestling and John hit his head on the floor.
No, they weren't wrestling.
They weren't wrestling?
John was asleep on the top bunk, and he rolled over and fell off and hit his head on the concrete
Oh my
floor.
God. Okay.
And that screwed up his eye and hearing.
Yeah.
And he went to San Antone to a specialist. And when he got home, he was telling us about this crazy car. He said, it's shaped like that, kind of like the old 48 Ford, only smaller, and it had a big key on the back. And it was the first Volkswagen that Nils had ever heard of. But yeah, it messed him up, messed his eye and hearing up.
Wow, I guess. It's a wonder he didn't die
Yeah,
hitting his head on that concrete floor.
yeah, we didn't have rugs down or anything. It was dyed red, and we went barefoot. When we got into bed, our feet were red on the soles of our feet because the dye from that floor stained.
Oh, really?
You remember that?
I don't remember.
Winfield
dying.
brought home a bobcat one time that had been run over. I skinned it out, and I had it with the head all up. And, you know, the dogs got in and ate it up one day.
So what do you remember about the dogs?
Oh, big lady and little lady and Thunderhead and King and
I don't
Pete.
remember a king. That must have been after my time.
you remember Tramp?
Kinda.
Tramp was a coonhound
Oh yeah.
that
Okay.
walked up, and I liked him, so I took a steak out of the freezer and gave it to him, and he stayed. But Tramp's son was King,
Hmm.
and anyway, Pete decided to play cowboy with Little Lady and Thunderhead, and so he tied them together with a rope. And they got in the bamboo, and King tried to get away. Thunderhead tried to get away, and Little Lady couldn't. So she was strangled. Daddy found them, but you know, there's so many. Pete fell asleep in the gunny sack in the intersection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Frank Rising stopped to see what was in the bag, and it was Pete. Laying there asleep.
Oh, gosh. Mercy. Scary. Yeah.
Well, there's so much of Pete and John's life that I don't know because I was gone in the Marine Corps as they were growing up,
Well,
and you guys were raising 4-H calves, and I never saw all their calves.
Pete, John was a freshman when I was a senior,
Yeah.
and Pete was in junior high. So when Pete got into high school, I was in the Air Force. So all of his high school stuff I don't know anything about except what Pete and John have told me.
Well,
Yeah.
Pete and John played baseball or something, and Dad used to go watch them play.
Yeah.
So
No. According to John, Dad went to watch Pete play
okay, fair enough.
because John played tennis, and he was a hell of a tennis player, and Dad never came once.
Yeah.
I said, well, I played basketball and football, and he never came to one of my games, and I never thought about it.
He came to one of my football games when I was playing in junior high, playing right guard, and I was terrible. I mean, I couldn't play football, and so I think he was just embarrassed for me. We were playing. I remember playing Brownsville, and we got beat 40-0 or something like that. And I played linebacker too. And they just run right over me.
Well, you know, the year I played football, I was almost 6'3" tall, and I weighed about 130 pounds.
Yeah.
When I played basketball, they said all they saw was two knees going down the anyway, so I couldn't play football.
Yeah. Yeah.
Besides that, football is that's what ruined my eye.
Really?
Yeah, I had 20/20 vision until then, and the doctor said never run, never jump, never play sports. But the coaches shamed me into it.
So somebody hit you head on? Or
Well,
something?
all that pounding
Okay.
it was already damaged, so it tore the iris.
Oh, okay.
But then after that, every year I played basketball for 4 years. And every year at the end of basketball season, I got a new pair of glasses because my eye got worse and worse.
This is going to be touch and go.